How they do, Exiles? Tables here, and we have a short little interesting update with the Reaper Merc. I don't think we are. Well, I don't think we actually ever went over in detail like the Merc for the Reaper build. But for those that are playing the build, my brother found out some really interesting stuff. Right. So originally we were Dodre's Asnas for temp chains. And then we self-cast curse, but he can also she can also do it too. We're doing some comes binding for some fizz conversion, and a dying breath for just generic damage, increased curse effect, non-curse aura effect, which is really nice. And so we have an interesting little thing, right? So according to my brother Bigu, we as the player count as a unique and a pinnacle as viewed by the Merc. So when it pertains to these mods, we the player count as those things. So in essence, because we're always in its presence, our Merc is always going to have 16% all res, which is nice because I don't have enough res on this guy currently. And also, the Merc's Envy will be boosted by 30%. Now, we know this because Bigu tested it on an armor-based character. Putting these mods on increased his armor, thus increasing the effect of the determination. Right? So we know for a fact that the unique mod works. We know for a fact that the pinnacle mod works, right? So this opens up a really interesting avenue for damage scaling, right? Especially on your Merc. And it is particularly going to be very strong for smite characters who are armor stackers. For all intents and purposes, this is like almost half as effective on an Envy character, but it's still worth doing. It's another, what is it, 45 plus, what are we at here? It's about 63% increased effect of Envy, whereas on a determination, you can literally get 100%. Plus a Jinx Juju, which is 15, and that will put you, I believe, at 100%. And so you end up getting double determination, essentially. Like, it's really good. I don't know if this has really been talked about, but this is what my brother found out. He saw a thing in someone's Twitch chat, and he wanted to test it and see if it was true, and it turns out it is. So he started testing other things, and now we're at the point where you can get your Merc to have literally double or more of their aura, right? So let's say they're running Wrath and Zealotry, both of those are doubled. It's an insane amount of damage. It's ridiculous. And so we got 30 from here, 15 here, and then 18 from here. We're sitting at 60 plus effect of our Envy. It's actually so good.
Decisions.
So this is the direction I'm taking the Envy Merc. I think it makes the most sense. And I just kind of decked it out in a bunch of ES gear and trying to shore up stuff. So you can take a look. Bunch of res, bunch of ES. There's not really any good corruptions here besides apply additional curse. So you could do that on your Jinx Juju and change out your ring. But I think this setup is cheaper because this ring is just cheaper. And then an extra curse implicit with 15% is going to be very expensive. And just some rando boots. Good, solid boots. Asinine Gentle Touch. And a Dying Breath. So that's pretty much the tech. This can work with any aura besides Envy and maybe a few others. Obviously, you'd have to check the mods, right? So it's only like the main damage auras. I think Discipline, Termination, Arctic Armor is probably half viable, kind of like Envy. So if we come to our POB, then we can just add the mod effect of Envy, right? You and your allies deal. XX additional chaos damage with attacks, then right, so that's giving us almost, I'm not hitting the right button, almost 1,000,000 damage. It's actually about 500,000 damage, but it is something. It is nice. And then we can do let's see, what's the actual mods? Right, so we're looking at 800,000 extra DPS just off of the curse scale, or the aura scaling. Right, so this 164 224 reflects the 61% increase, the 63% increase. All right, so we go from 22.8 to 23.5. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm min-maxing like pretty hard. And this mod alone, the Atlas boss 30%, that was about 7 div and 4,500 chaos for me to hit, just for me to even see the mod. So this is for like end of build, you're min-maxing everything. Right, you're getting really, really, really down to the nitty-gritty of everything. And you're trying to squeeze out as much as you possibly can. It's obviously it's less effective on something like Envy, but it would be far more justifying to spend that type of currency on determination scaling or discipline scaling, right? 110%. I don't even know if you can get discipline on a Merc, but if you can, I think it's absolutely worth it. But less so for Envy. I mean, I'll take an extra 800,000 DPS. I'll take that all day. I think that. I mean, I love that. So we'll take this mod off, and we'll add nearby allies damage with hits is lucky per the Perkwill's toe, and it's actually less than what we would be getting with the Envy scaling. Not by much, but the Envy scaling does get us an extra 300k DPS. I would say it's better to use Perkwill toes, especially if you're like more of a casual player and you're really just trying to min-max a little bit and not break the bank, because Perkwills is like super duper mega cheap, and you can get it with curse on hit if you really wanted to, and you could just run a different ring. But I'm really trying to push what I can within the, without using clusters and all that crap. I was willing to spend the money just to test it, just to see how far we could get with it, and I'm pretty happy with it. So we're gaining about 800,000 DPS, and our mark is just better off for it. Unfortunately, like realistically, I guess something you could do, right, is you could just run the effect scaling on the staff and the chest piece, and then drop 15% of that, and still run Perkwill's toe, and you would be even more damage. I think that would actually be probably the best way to do it, right? Because we're looking at 110, so 63 minus 15 puts us at 48% scaling. So that makes that 149. That puts this at 208. That puts us at 23.5. And that's at 48% scaling, mind you, okay? And then we go ahead and run Perkwills. That puts us at an even 24k, or 24 mil. So I think if you're gonna run the Reaper Marks, I think now that I'm looking at the POB and like we're looking at it together, I think it's much more valuable to run a chess piece with the mod, which is where the bulk of the money's gonna go. A Dying Breath, 18% increased effective non-curse aura, put you at 48, and then you go ahead and continue to run damage with hits is lucky, and that'll put you at 24 mil, which is about a 1.2 mil increase. I think that's worth the amount of investment that we just put in. Because I mean, it's not exactly free, but it's easy damage. This is not difficult to do. This is extremely easy to do. All it costs is time and money. That's really it. It's not complicated. So I just wanted to give you guys a short little breakdown of the build in the Merc as it stands currently. I don't foresee this changing. This thing is tailor made for our build. You could go even further and do a nearby enemies have -10 chaos res, Lich's helmet, hunter influenced, but those are like very expensive. Hitting the mod is very expensive, and getting that mod along with all kinds of other great mods, I don't know if that's necessarily worth the money unless you're like really hell bent on min maxing. But you can do it if you want to. I tried to do it, and it was getting out of control expensive. And so I opted to just leave it. I'm not even going to bother with it. But if that's a route you wanted to go, you could absolutely do that. So, anyways, I'm still playing other builds, trying to decide what I want to do next. I'm probably going to play on this guy for the rest of the weekend and just kind of chill and farm up some of the currency that I lost. I had 77 and 4,500 here. So we're down quite a bit, but we're up about 1.2 mil. So that's exciting. Even better for Ubers. There's probably going to be a lull in uploads until I decide what I want to do next. I was going to do an Absolution of Inspiring video and build and really trick one out, but Jungron kind of killed my vibe on that. So I just kind of was just like, whatever, I'm just not even going to do it. So I'll let you guys know eventually what I end up doing next. And yeah, I'm going to keep playing the Reaper just because it's so fun and so incredible. So hope you guys have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Be good. Take care of yourselves. God bless.